Every so often we publish a video which is basically news items. And here we are, February 2024, would you believe? So let me just update you on one or two things which I think might interest you. Sometimes we get a response to a video which is much higher than normal, and just such an event happened very recently.
I recently published a video about radio propagation, shortwave radio propagation, and I touched on the subject of low angle radiation, 5-degree angle of radiation. I got a lot of response actually. Quite a few people wrote in and said, yes, I agree with you. And a number who are more technically minded than I am said, yes, you're absolutely right, Peter. And it appears that this 5-degree angle, low angle of radiation, has actually only been with us for about, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years, something like that. And I think probably, from what people have said, it's because some of the newcomers to amateur radio have purchased this antenna modelling software, which is very good. It's very educational. But it's not perfect by any means, particularly when it gets down to low angles of radiation and radials. And it's free. If it's free, it's not going to be anything like as accurate as professional paid-for software. And what I mentioned was the Brewster effect, which actually I should have said the Brewster Angle. The Brewster Angle is quite complex. And if you study physics, you'll find that it does appear more in articles covering light, diffraction, reflection of light. But it does apparently translate quite nicely into radio waves, which are also reflected. And I'll try to remember to put a link below to a paper that I read. It's very deep, it's very heavy. And I think really all you can take away from it is the fact that the Brewster Angle does exist, and it effectively cancels out some of the low angle radiation, the very low angle radiation. Now, I'm not even sure that cancels out is the right word. But at the end of the day, 5-degree angle of radiation doesn't appear to exist. And even if it did, I suggest that the absorption in a typical urban situation would be such that it wouldn't get very far anyway. But if it doesn't exist, it doesn't exist. So I think really and truly what you can take away from this is the fact that if we want to do some comparisons, the reference point needs to be no smaller than 10 degrees. And in fact, if you look at some of the papers that cover quarter wave verticals, in fact the paper that covered the Brewster angle showed that the optimum radiation angle from a vertical, quarter wave vertical, is 26 degrees. Probably a bit higher than many have thought. But there we are. So that's my take on the 5-degree, or should I say the mythical 5-degree angle. By the way, if you want to study radio propagation more deeply, get a copy of the ARRL Antenna Handbook. Turn into the sun. Gosh, it's bright here, isn't it? Get a copy of the ARRL Antenna Handbook. Not the recent copy, because that will cost you £99 from the RSGB, or I think about £10 cheaper if you're a member. Get some of the older copies. My copy, the earliest copy I've got, I paid $5 for, which I think in those days was about £2.50. But if you get some earlier copies of the ARRL Antenna Handbook, it covers the subject very, very nicely indeed. So there's a tip.
So next time you go to the USA, perhaps that's the place to buy your ARRL Antenna book. It'll be a lot cheaper than £99 here in the UK. Perhaps you better buy two. Bring one back and sell the other one to your friend for £99. Nice little profit there.
Now, our backroom boys have been pretty busy on our website. If you go to the front page of our website, you'll see there's some changes there. And one of the changes near the bottom, I think it is is a link to the YouTube channel that I host every week. And just click on there and it'll take you straight to the YouTube channel. And also, of course, you can see the latest YouTube videos that I've published. There's quite a few of them, actually. But there's something even more interesting. If you go a little bit further up the page, you'll see that we've created a video blog. What's a video blog? Well, it's the same question I'd have asked you a few weeks ago. Basically, we are now using AI. I say we, it's not me, it's one of these clever guys behind the scenes. We're using something called AI. And what that does, it's translating my dialogue in the video into text which you can read on the screen. Now, the clever bit is that it's not a direct translation. It misses out all my ums and ers and the mispronunciations and produces a very, very nicely laid out text. It's even got headings and subheadings. Quite amazing, really. And we're using this now as an experiment. We're using it for we've been using it for the last 2 or 3 weeks. You may not have noticed it though. So it's worth checking the front page of our website, and you'll see it's spread across the bottom there, or near the bottom. It says video blog. And we're going to run this now. It's an experiment in the first few weeks just to see if it works okay. It looks as if it's working very well, actually, because I was quite amazed. First of all, I looked at it and I thought, oh yes, I remember talking about this. And then as I read through it, I thought, I didn't actually say that. They've actually reworded it in a much more, I say friendly way, a more correct way. The grammar is corrected and it's nicely laid out. So take a look at it, see what you think. If you've got any comments, let us know. But we're running this now to try and build up a video blog. So if you've missed the videos or you want to sort of copy the text for further reference, go onto the front page of our website and you'll see it, video blog. It amazes me, actually. But there again, at my age, I'm always amazed at improvements in technology. Say no more.
One or two have asked about the music. Well, yes, I do. Generally speaking, in fact, all the music is done on keyboard. I'm not a keyboard player, basically. My main instrument was violin. I can't play the violin anymore now because I've got an eye problem. I can't read music properly. So my instrument now is drums. I play jazz, and also the main drummer at the local church. Yeah, it's great fun at rehearsals. One of the transceivers we've been the exclusive distributors for since its inception is the Lab 599 TX500 transceiver. It's a QRP transceiver, but it's built to military standards. It's very rugged, totally waterproof, and I did actually do a couple of videos on it about 18 months ago now. I had it for about a month and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was quite amazing. Very thin form factor, but Lab 599 have announced that they're going to produce a man-pack version. Now, I think this is going to be mainly for military applications, but some of the changes may spill over into perhaps an updated ham radio version. I don't know. And there's certainly no announcement as to the date it's going to be available. I suspect that it won't be till right at the end of the year. And of course, we don't really have all the details yet. But just a few clips of the videos I did about 18 months ago give you some idea of the transceiver.
This gives you some idea of how slim it is. You can see that it's a very slim transceiver and it's totally rugged. I slung some water over it outside and then brought it in, and I had it connected to an antenna. I unfortunately haven't got the soundtrack here, but it was still working fine. And so if you're looking for something that's really rugged, this radio is the business. And hence it's got an attraction for military applications. And at the end here you can see the connectors and show you how slim it is. The display is very clear. It's a nice display. It's very easy to read in daylight and outside in the sunlight. Had no problem at all. and it's got quite a number of menu items, various selectivity, tuning rates, CW, built-in keyer, etc. It's altogether a nice radio.
So what are they planning for the man pack version? Well, it's going to have a battery pack, although there is a battery pack option for the current version, which we have in stock, by the way. If you're interested in buying this transceiver, the current version is in stock. So they will supply a battery pack with it. Whether it's the same battery pack or not, I don't know. It looks as if there's going to be some sort of charging hod. Interestingly enough, they're going to have a breakout box, which means to say that it'll be easier to get microphones into it, remotely control it, interface it for data with the PC and so forth, all from one breakout box. And I think the idea of that basically is that if you have the radio strapped to your back or in a backpack, you'll be able to control it basically with this breakout box. Perhaps the most interesting thing is that it's going to have an internal antenna matching unit. Now the current version doesn't have one. Whether they'll be able to get that into the same size box, I doubt somehow, because the current radio is pretty well packed in. But who knows? But it looks as if the form factor is, in terms of the width and height, is very similar. But the depth, I think, is going to be increased. So if they're going to make available an internal antenna matching unit, I wonder if they're going to make available an internal matching unit for the current ham radio version. Don't know. So it looks as if the MP version is very much aimed at the commercial market or military market, but I suspect that some of the features will spin off onto a new version. Obviously a lot more expensive, or at least more expensive, and as I said earlier in the video, we've got no idea when it's available, but it's interesting. It's an interesting transceiver, and I think if I was going to go on a sort of a trek, not that I'm likely to actually, but if I was going to go onto a trek for a few days and I wanted a QRP radio that I knew was going to stand up to a bit of, not intentional mishandling, but nevertheless a bit of rough and ready handling, then I think this would be top of the list. Anyway, that's what we know so far about the new model. Quite often followers of this channel come up with simple ideas and tips and so forth, and one which I've actually followed myself came from a viewer recently. If you're messing about with antennas in the garden and you've got connectors that are unprotected, how do you quickly weatherproof them? Not necessarily long term, but perhaps for days, weeks, or maybe a couple of months. Well, the answer is in your kitchen. Cling film is an excellent way of providing temporary weatherproofing. It's used in industry and warehouses and so forth for protecting goods. And it's not bad over a medium period. In fact, I protected some connections on my antenna system for, well, the whole of last winter. So that was about 5 or 6 months. And when I removed the cling film, there was no sign of any weather ingress at all. And what's more, it doesn't leave any marks. If you use something like gaffer tape and so forth, as good as it is, it will leave deposits. So if you want to weatherproof something quickly, cheaply and medium term, cling film is not a bad idea.
Spring is just round the corner, so they tell me, and it just so happens that we've got a couple of new portable antennas that have come into stock. The first one is really special actually. It's very well engineered, made entirely in America, and very high quality. It's cut above the norm, I think. Anyway, let me tell you a bit about it. Here's a new antenna we've just taken into stock, the REZ Antenna 80. Here we see the antenna in production. The entire antenna is made in America, and from the video here you'll see how meticulous they are in producing this antenna to a very, very high standard. The finish is excellent, And of course, it's designed as a complete antenna system. Everything you get is there to get you on the air. From the metalwork, the very finely engineered coil, all the fittings, and even the rucksack are supplied. So the antenna is basically ready to go to get you on the air in the field.
Yes, it looks a great antenna, doesn't it? It's beautifully engineered. I have seen the sample, but I haven't actually got my hands on it yet. So as soon as I can get hold of the sample and test it, I will do. But it looks very promising. And we're not that far away now from spring, and it's time to think about getting out into the field and so forth. And the attraction of this, I think, is that it's not only well engineered, which is very important, but it's also a complete system. So as soon as I get my hands on the sample, I will do a video and I will let you know how well it performs and give you some details of the individual items to see how well they're engineered. Certainly from that video that we saw, it looked as if it was very well made indeed, and a lot of attention to detail. Anyway, time will tell, and we shall get a sample, or I shall get a sample as soon as possible. Now, another antenna I spotted is the JPC-12. It's a portable HF antenna in kit form with its carry case. It covers the bands 80 metres through to 10 metres, plus 6 metres and 4 metres. So as soon as I can get hold of one of those, I'll do a review of that as well. So I've got a lot of portable gear coming up to take a look at. In the meantime, thanks for your support on this channel. It's much appreciated. And as usual, thank you for your support at the shop. We get quite a few calls with customers or potential customers asking about this and that. And we don't mind how many times you call us, ask about the products, because we're only too happy to help you. And if you've got the ability to come down to our shop at Milton Keynes, you'll be most welcome. It's open 5 days a week, and we are very, very close to the M1. So if you're within striking distance of the M1, then it may well be an opportunity to give us a visit when you're able to, when you've got time. But if you can't make the trip, then we offer a very, very fast delivery service. Normally, if we get the order by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we'll ship the same day. So we do pride ourselves in very fast shipping. There we are. In the meantime, you take care, enjoy your ham radio, and as usual, I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now. You know, I thought instead of sort of bouncy bounce music, dance music, jazz music, I'd try a little bit of mood music, sort of background mood music, cinematic music. Anyway, see what you think. If you don't like it, just turn it off.